Dr. Emily Hayes stared at her computer screen, her coffee long forgotten and gone cold. The numbers couldn't be right, but they were. After 3 years of research and countless failed attempts, she had finally done it. The quantum readings showed something that should have been impossible. A stable micro-universe contained within a controlled field. "John, come look at this," she called to her research partner, Dr. John Miller, who was dozing in his chair across the lab. The Terra Naval Research Division's underground facility had become their second home over the past few years. John rubbed his tired eyes and walked over. "What is it, Em? Remember how we couldn't get the quantum field to stay stable for more than a microsecond? Well, I tried linking multiple fields together, like a chain of bubbles. Look at the stability readings." John's eyes widened as he looked at the data. That's impossible. The energy requirements alone should tear the whole thing apart." "But it's not tearing apart," Emily said, her voice filled with excitement. "The fields are actually supporting each other. It's like they're dancing together, each one strengthening the others." Outside the research facility, in high orbit around Earth, something else was happening. A cloaked alien observation post picked up unusual energy readings from the surface. The observer, a long-tentacled creature named Zix 427, sent an immediate alert to the Galactic Council. Back in the lab, Emily and John had called in their supervisor, Dr. Susan Parker. The older woman studied their results with a frown on her face. "Do you understand what you've created?" Susan asked, her voice quiet but intense. "This isn't just a new power source. You've found a way to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself." Emily nodded. "The applications are endless, but I think the most immediate use would be for propulsion and energy generation. A ship powered by this technology could revolutionize space travel." John finished. "No more limited fuel supplies. No more conventional engines. This could be the breakthrough we've been looking for." The next few days passed in a blur of activity. More scientists were brought in, all signing strict security agreements. The military's interest grew as they began to understand the potential applications. Emily's small lab soon became the center of the biggest secret project on Earth. Admiral Frank Rogers visited personally to see the demonstration. Emily had set up a small-scale test, using their quantum field technology, to move a tennis ball. "Watch closely," she told the Admiral, activating the system. The tennis ball didn't just move. It disappeared from one spot and appeared in another, without crossing the space between. The Admiral dropped his coffee cup, letting it shatter on the floor. "How?" he asked simply. "The quantum fields allow us to bend space itself," Emily explained. "Instead of moving through space, we're moving space around the object. And that's just the beginning. We've barely scratched the surface of what this technology can do." Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council's main chamber, the energy readings from Earth were causing a stir. The humans were considered a primitive species, barely worth monitoring. But these readings suggested they were playing with forces they couldn't possibly understand. "Impossible," declared High Counselor Vex. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. They must have stumbled upon something by accident. They'll probably destroy themselves before they figure out how to use it." But back on Earth, progress continued. Emily and her team worked day and night, refining their discovery. They built larger test chambers, conducted more complex experiments. Each success brought new possibilities, new questions to answer. 1 month after the initial discovery, Emily stood in front of a military panel, presenting their findings. The room was filled with generals and admirals, all watching intently as she explained their work. "We're ready to scale up," she concluded. "With proper funding and resources, we can build a ship-sized quantum core within 18 months." The panel members looked at each other. Admiral Rogers stood up. "Dr. Hayes, your project has been designated top priority. You'll have whatever you need. The US Prometheus project begins today." As Emily left the meeting, her phone buzzed with a message from John. "You need to see this." The long-range sensors picked up something strange. "I think we're being watched." The game was about to change. Humanity had taken its first step into a much larger universe, and the aliens watching from above had no idea what was coming. Captain Robert Wilson walked through the massive underground shipyard, his footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. The US Prometheus was taking shape before his eyes, unlike any ship he had ever seen. Its hull gleamed under the bright lights, but it was what lay inside that made it special. "Captain, over here." Chief Engineer Lisa Cooper waved from a platform near the ship's core. Her red hair was tied back in a messy ponytail, and her uniform was covered in grease stains. She had been working on the quantum core installation for the past 3 months. Wilson climbed up to join her. "How's it looking, Chief?" "Better than we hoped," Lisa said, pointing to the glowing chamber in front of them. "Dr. Hayes' design is pure genius. We've managed to scale up the quantum field generators to ship size, and they're working perfectly. Want to see something cool?" She pressed a few buttons on her tablet. Inside the core chamber, multiple spheres of blue light appeared, dancing around each other in a complex pattern. "Each one of those is a micro-universe, Captain. They work together to bend space around the ship." High above Earth, the alien observation post had doubled its staff. Zix 427 and his new partner, Kral 989, watched the humans with growing concern. "They're building something big," Kral 989 reported to the Galactic Council. "Our sensors can't penetrate their facility, but the energy readings are off the charts." Back in the shipyard, Wilson met with his command crew for the first time. Lieutenant Steve Parker, his tactical officer, was studying the weapon systems with wide eyes. "Sir, these aren't just normal weapons," Parker said. "The quantum fields can be used to enhance our missiles and energy weapons. We could hit targets before they even know they're being targeted." Dr. Emily Hayes joined them, carrying a stack of data pads. "The quantum core doesn't just power the ship," she explained. "It changes the rules of physics around us. Traditional shields won't work against our weapons because they operate on principles that alien technology doesn't account for." Wilson looked at his crew. "People, what we're doing here isn't just building a ship. We're changing the game. Earth's first quantum-powered battleship will show the galaxy what humans can do." The construction continued day and night. Lisa Cooper and her engineering team worked tirelessly to integrate the quantum core with the ship's systems. Every test brought new surprises and possibilities. During one test, a junior engineer named Brian Foster discovered that the quantum fields could be used to create instant communications across any distance. "It's like quantum entanglement," he explained to Wilson. "But we can control it. We can talk to Earth from anywhere in the galaxy with no delay." The alien observers grew more worried. As their sensors detected the strange energy patterns, they sent a report to their superiors. "Humans developing unknown technology. Energy signatures unlike anything in Galactic Council records." 6 months into the project, the US Prometheus was ready for its first system test. The massive ship hung suspended in the underground chamber, its quantum core humming with power. "All stations report ready," Lieutenant Parker announced from his position at Tactical. Captain Wilson sat in his command chair, Lisa Cooper at the engineering station beside him. "Dr. Hayes, are we good to proceed?" Emily nodded from her special console where she monitored the quantum core. "All quantum fields are stable. We can begin the test." Wilson took a deep breath. "Activate the quantum drive." The ship's quantum core pulsed with brilliant blue light. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, sensors showed something remarkable. The space around the ship was bending, creating a bubble of altered physics. "It works," Lisa shouted, checking her readings. "The quantum fields are performing even better than our simulations predicted." In orbit, the alien observers watched in disbelief as their sensors went crazy. Zix 427 sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council. "Humans have achieved quantum manipulation technology. Threat level must be reassessed." The council dismissed the warning. Impossible, they replied. These are primitive beings. Whatever they've built, it cannot compete with our advanced technology. As the test concluded, Wilson gathered his crew. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just made history. The Prometheus isn't just a ship. It's humanity's first step into a new era. Emily Hayes smiled as she looked at the ship. They think we're primitive, she said quietly. They have no idea what's coming. The US Prometheus was ready. Soon, the galaxy would learn just how wrong they were about humanity's potential. The alarm blared throughout the underground base. Captain Wilson ran to the command center, his heart pounding. On the main screen, a massive alien ship had appeared in orbit around Earth, twice the size of anything humans had ever built. Status report, Wilson demanded as he entered the room. Lieutenant Steve Parker looked up from his console, his face pale. Sir, they just appeared. No warning. Their ship is bigger than anything we've ever seen. And there are more coming through some kind of portal. Dr. Emily Hayes rushed in, her lab coat flying behind her. The energy readings from their ships are off the charts. They're using some kind of advanced fusion technology we've never seen before. The main screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes, and what looked like metal implants across its head. It spoke in perfect English. Humans of Earth, I am Supreme Commander Xthor of the Hegemony. We have watched your primitive species long enough. Your recent experiments with quantum technology have caught our attention. Such power does not belong in the hands of lesser beings. The room fell silent. Chief Engineer Lisa Cooper whispered, They've been watching us all along. Xthor continued, You have 48 Earth hours to surrender all quantum technology research and submit to hegemony rule. Resist, and we will show you true power. The screen went dark. Admiral Rogers stepped forward, his face grim. Captain Wilson, looks like the Prometheus is going to have its first real test sooner than we planned. Lieutenant David Martinez, the youngest officer on the crew, had been quietly analyzing the alien ships during the transmission. Captain, something interesting about their shields, he said. They're using a complex energy pattern, but I think our quantum weapons might be able to disrupt them. Wilson nodded. Dr. Hayes, how soon can the Prometheus be ready for combat? The quantum core is fully operational, she replied. We've never tested it in actual combat, but all simulations show it should work perfectly. Over the next few hours, the crew prepared for battle. Lisa Cooper ran final checks on all systems while Martinez refined his shield analysis. The alien fleet grew larger by the hour, with dozens of ships now visible from Earth. In the Hegemony command ship, Xthor watched the humans with amusement. Such primitive beings, he said to his officers. Their quantum experiments are merely lucky accidents. They cannot possibly understand the true nature of space-time manipulation. One of his officers spoke up. Supreme Commander, should we not be concerned? Our observers reported unusual energy patterns. Silence. Xthor interrupted. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Their weapons cannot penetrate our advanced shields. This will be a simple conquest. Back on Earth, the Prometheus crew boarded their ship. Wilson sat in the command chair, looking at his brave crew. Ladies and gentlemen, humanity's fate rests in our hands. We're about to show these aliens what humans can really do. Dr. Hayes monitored the quantum core readings from her station. Core is stable. All quantum fields are operating at peak efficiency. Engineering reports ready, Lisa Cooper announced from her post. All systems are green. Lieutenant Martinez looked up from his tactical station. Sir, I've analyzed their shield frequencies. I think I know how to break through them. Wilson took a deep breath. Humanity's first battle against alien forces. Let's make it count. He pressed the ship-wide comm button. All hands, battle stations. The massive underground doors opened above the Prometheus. The ship rose slowly, its quantum core humming with power. As it emerged into the night sky, Its sleek black hull reflected the starlight. In orbit, X-Thor's sensors detected the approaching ship, so they choose to resist. One small ship against our fleet. This will be over quickly. But something was wrong. His sensors couldn't get a clear reading on the human vessel. The energy patterns made no sense. Supreme Commander, one of his officers called out, panic in his voice. Their ship, it's using quantum fields in ways our scientists said were impossible. X-Thor stood up, all four eyes focused on the approaching human ship. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something he had never expected to feel when dealing with humans. Fear. The US Prometheus accelerated toward the alien fleet, its quantum core pulsing with blue light. The real test of humanity's greatest achievement was about to begin. The hegemony struck first. 3 alien cruisers broke formation and launched bright purple energy beams at Earth's outer defense stations near the moon. The stations exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Those were our strongest stations, Lieutenant Parker said, his voice shaking. Their weapons just cut through the shields like they weren't even there. Captain Wilson gripped his command chair. Dr. Hayes, time to show them what the Prometheus can do. Lieutenant Martinez, target the nearest cruiser. The Prometheus moved with impossible speed. One moment it was near Earth, the next it appeared right next to one of the alien cruisers. The alien ship tried to fire, but the Prometheus wasn't there anymore. Quantum jumps working perfectly, Lisa Cooper reported from engineering. The aliens can't track us when we bend space. Engineer Amy Foster made an exciting discovery during the battle. Captain, the quantum field is doing something strange to their weapons. It's eating their energy beams. X-Thor watched in growing anger as the human ship danced between his vessels. None of their weapons could hit it. The human ship moved in ways that violated all known laws of physics. Impossible, he shouted as another of his cruisers reported shield failures. How are they doing this? Their weapons shouldn't be able to harm our ships. Martinez had figured out the perfect attack pattern. Their shields work in layers, he explained as he fired another quantum-enhanced torpedo. But our quantum fields slip right between those layers. They never planned for this kind of attack. The battle intensified. 20 alien ships surrounded the Prometheus, all firing at once. But the quantum core gave the human ship abilities the aliens couldn't understand. Multiple hits incoming, Parker shouted. Quantum bubble now, Wilson ordered. Emily Hayes activated their secret weapon. The space around the Prometheus twisted. All the alien weapons' fire curved around them, some even hitting other alien ships. In engineering, Lisa Cooper watched in amazement as the quantum core performed even better than they had hoped. The core is actually getting stronger, she called out. It's learning from each attack, adapting our defenses automatically. X-Thor's fleet had never faced anything like this. His ship's advanced computers couldn't even track the human vessel properly. It seemed to be in multiple places at once. Sir, one of his officers yelled. Their weapon systems, they're impossible. They're firing torpedoes that exist in multiple quantum states. Our shields can't stop something that's in multiple places at the same time. The Prometheus spun through space, quantum fields glowing bright blue. Each attack showed the aliens something new about human ingenuity. Their perfectly ordered formations broke apart as ships tried to escape the impossible human weapon. They're running, Martinez announced as several alien ships turned away. Their shields are completely confused by our quantum attacks. But X-Thor wasn't done yet. His flagship turned toward Earth, charging its main weapon. If we cannot defeat one ship, he growled, then we will destroy their world. Wilson saw the threat immediately. All power to the quantum core. Emily, Lisa, give me everything you've got. The Prometheus shot forward, quantum fields blazing. Time and space bent around the ship as it pushed its systems to the limit. They had only seconds to stop X-Thor's attack. Amy Foster noticed something on her console. The quantum fields are multiplying. We're creating some kind of cascade effect. Emily Hayes smiled. That's exactly what we want. Quick, redirect that energy to the weapons. The Prometheus fired all weapons at once, each shot wrapped in layers of quantum fields. The space around X-Thor's flagship twisted and warped. His mighty ship shields flickered and died. This cannot be. X-Thor screamed as his weapon systems went dark. We are the hegemony. We cannot be defeated by primitives. Captain Wilson stood on his bridge, watching the alien fleet fall into chaos. We're not primitives, he said quietly. We're humans, and we just changed the rules of space combat forever. The remaining alien ships fled in panic, their perfect formation forgotten. Behind them, the Prometheus floated victorious, its quantum core pulsing with bright blue light, ready for whatever came next. Earth had won its first space battle, and the galaxy would never be the same. The hegemony's retreat was short-lived. X-Thor had called for reinforcements, and now hundreds of alien ships filled Earth's orbital space. But this time, Captain Wilson and his crew were ready. They think numbers will save them, Wilson said to his crew. Time to show them what the Prometheus can really do. Dr. Emily Hayes worked at her station, her fingers flying over the controls. Captain, I found a way to push the quantum core even further. We can create time distortion fields around the ship. The alien fleet launched a massive attack. Thousands of energy beams and missiles streaked toward the Prometheus. But something strange happened. The human ship seemed to move in slow motion, yet it dodged everything. How? X-Thor demanded, pounding his command console. Their ship is moving too slowly to avoid our weapons, yet nothing hits them. Lisa Cooper laughed from her engineering station. They don't get it, do they? We're not moving slowly. We're slowing down time around us. Everything else looks like it's moving at super speed. The Prometheus demonstrated moves that the aliens had never seen before. It would split into what looked like 5 ships, then merge back into one. It would disappear completely, then reappear inside an alien formation, wreaking havoc before vanishing again. Sir, Lieutenant Martinez called out. Their sensors are going crazy. They can't tell which ship is real and which are quantum echoes. Amy Foster made another breakthrough during the battle. Captain, I found a way to create quantum tunnels. We can fire our weapons through folded space. They'll never see them coming. The alien fleet's perfect formation turned into chaos. Their sensors showed impossible things. Human weapons that existed in multiple places at once, torpedoes that traveled backwards in time to hit their targets before they were fired, and energy beams that curved around their own ships to strike from behind. Their technology defies all logic. An alien science officer reported to X-Thor. They're breaking laws of physics that we thought were unbreakable. Emily Hayes monitored the quantum core readings with growing excitement. The core is evolving, learning from each engagement. It's creating new quantum effects we never even thought of. The Prometheus phased through solid matter, appearing inside alien shield barriers. It created localized time fields where alien ships found themselves fighting against weapons that had already hit them. Space itself seemed to bend and twist around the human vessel. Impossible. Impossible. X-Thor kept shouting as his mighty fleet was slowly torn apart by a single human ship. No species should be able to do this. The laws of physics cannot be broken this way. Wilson stood on his bridge, watching the battle unfold. We're not breaking physics, he said calmly. We're just better at understanding it than you are. Lisa Cooper reported from engineering. The quantum core is operating at 200% of expected capacity. The more they throw at us, the stronger it gets. The alien fleet's advanced sensors began to fail completely. Their targeting computers couldn't handle weapons that existed in quantum superposition. Their shield generators overloaded trying to block attacks that came from multiple timelines at once. This is beyond anything we ever simulated, Emily said, watching her readings with amazement. The quantum fields are creating effects that should be impossible. We're not just bending space-time. We're rewriting it. Lieutenant Parker looked up from his station. Sir, Their fleet. They're starting to fire on each other. Their sensors are so confused they can't tell friend from foe anymore. The Prometheus danced through space, leaving chaos in its wake. Alien ships found themselves trapped in bubbles of slowed time, or split between multiple quantum states. Their mighty weapons passed harmlessly through quantum shadows, while the real ship struck from impossible angles. Thor watched in horror as his undefeated fleet was systematically torn apart by technology he couldn't understand. The humans hadn't just matched hegemony technology. They had surpassed it in ways he never thought possible. How? He whispered, watching another squadron of his ships fall to quantum weapons. How did we underestimate them so badly? Captain Wilson smiled as he watched the alien fleet's formation collapse completely. That's the thing about humans, he said to his crew. We don't just think outside the box. We quantum tunnel through it. The battle wasn't over, but one thing was clear. The age of alien technological superiority had ended. Humanity had changed the rules of warfare forever, and the galaxy would never be the same. Thor had finally had enough. His mighty fleet was in shambles, but he still had one card left to play. The pride of Thor, his personal flagship, moved to the front of the remaining fleet. It was 3 times larger than any other ship in the battle. If we cannot defeat them with our fleet, Thor growled, then I will show them the true power of hegemony technology. The pride of Thor's hull began to glow with purple energy. The ship was drawing power from hundreds of fusion reactors, charging a weapon that could crack a planet in half. Captain, Lieutenant Martinez called out from his station. Energy readings from the alien flagship are off the charts. They're building up to something big. On the Prometheus, Captain Wilson knew they had to act fast. Emily, Lisa, what options do we have? Dr. Hayes and Chief Engineer Cooper shared a quick look. We have an idea, Lisa said, but it's never been tested. We could try combining our quantum fields with conventional weapons. Do it, Wilson ordered. Whatever they're charging up, we need to stop it now. Lieutenant Martinez worked quickly at his station. I'm linking our torpedo guidance systems to the quantum field generators. Each torpedo will create its own micro-universe on impact. The pride of Thor fired its superweapon. A massive beam of purple energy, bigger than anything they'd seen before, shot toward the Prometheus. At the same time, the human ship launched its modified torpedoes. Quantum fields at maximum, Emily shouted, bending space-time around the torpedoes. Something incredible happened. The torpedoes didn't just fly through space, they warped it. Each one created a trail of twisted reality behind it. When they met the alien energy beam, physics itself seemed to break. What's happening? Thor demanded as his sensors went crazy. What have they done? Amy Foster watched in amazement from her engineering station. The torpedoes are creating quantum tunnels inside the energy beam. They're turning the alien weapon against itself. The massive purple beam began to fold and twist. The quantum fields from the torpedoes created a complex web of warped space-time. The pride of Thor's own energy was being redirected back through these quantum tunnels. Impossible. Thor screamed as his mighty weapon backfired. Our technology is superior. We cannot be defeated by primitive humans. But the Prometheus wasn't done. As the alien weapon collapsed in on itself, Martinez launched their second attack. Quantum cascade torpedoes away. These new weapons passed through the twisted space created by the first attack. They hit the pride of Thor's shields from 1,000 different angles at once, existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Their shield harmonics are failing, Martinez reported excitedly. The quantum cascade is working. The pride of Thor's shields flickered and died. The mighty flagship, pride of the hegemony fleet, was defenseless for the first time in its history. Lisa Cooper's voice came over the comm. Captain, the quantum core is offering us something new. It's like it wants to show us something. Wilson nodded. Do it. The Prometheus's quantum fields expanded suddenly, creating a massive bubble of altered spacetime around the alien flagship. Inside this bubble, the pride of Xthor began to experience every possible outcome of the battle simultaneously. What is this sorcery? Xthor watched in horror as his ship existed in multiple states at once. In one reality it was intact, in another destroyed, in yet another it had never been built. That's the thing about quantum mechanics, Emily Hayes said with a smile. Reality isn't as fixed as you think it is. The message was being broadcast across the galaxy. Other alien races watched in stunned silence as a single human ship defeated the mighty hegemony's greatest weapon using technology that should have been impossible. Their entire understanding of physics is wrong, Lisa said, watching the readings. They built their technology on what they thought were unbreakable laws. We just proved those laws can be rewritten. The remaining alien ships began to retreat. The pride of Xthor hung motionless in space, trapped between realities, a testament to humanity's quantum superiority. Captain Wilson stood on his bridge, watching the enemy fleet flee. "Send a message to Earth," he ordered. "Tell them the hegemony threat is over. And tell them the galaxy just got a lot more interesting." The battle was won, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. 1 month after the battle, Captain Wilson stood at a podium in front of the United Nations. Behind him, displayed on massive screens, was footage of the Prometheus defeating the hegemony fleet. The room was packed with delegates from every nation on Earth. "The galaxy has changed," Wilson began, "and humanity changed it." In orbit, the pride of Xthor still floated, now a research station where human scientists studied advanced alien technology. Xthor himself had been captured when his ship became trapped in the quantum field. Now he watched in disbelief as other alien races rushed to make peace with Earth. Dr. Emily Hayes led a team of scientists studying the quantum core's evolution during the battle. "It's amazing," she told a group of reporters. "The core didn't just work as designed, it evolved. It created new quantum effects we never imagined possible." The Galactic Council, which had dismissed humans as primitives, called an emergency session. Alien ambassadors argued for hours about how to deal with this new human technology. "They have mastered quantum manipulation beyond anything we thought possible," one ambassador said. "The hegemony's defeat proves we were wrong about humans." Back on Earth, Lisa Cooper and her engineering team were already working on improvements to the quantum core design. "The battle taught us so much," she explained to Admiral Rogers. "We can build better ships now, with quantum cores that are twice as powerful." Lieutenant Martinez had become a hero for his role in defeating the pride of Xthor. He now taught at the newly formed Quantum Combat Academy, training the next generation of space warfare officers. The aliens thought they knew everything about physics, he told his students. They built their whole civilization on what they thought were unbreakable rules. But humans, we break rules. We rewrite them. That's our strength. Amy Foster made another breakthrough while studying the battle data. She discovered that the quantum fields had created permanent changes in space around Earth. "It's like we've marked our territory in the fabric of space-time itself," she said. "No alien fleet will ever be able to surprise us again." The hegemony, once the most powerful force in the galaxy, was falling apart. Other races that they had conquered for centuries were now breaking free, inspired by humanity's victory. Many came to Earth seeking alliances and trading partnerships. "Humans do not think like us," one alien diplomat admitted. "Where we see limits, they see possibilities. Where we accept rules, they ask why. This makes them dangerous and valuable allies." Captain Wilson and his crew received medals for their victory, but they were already planning their next mission. The Prometheus would lead a fleet of new quantum ships to explore the galaxy. "We're not just going to sit back and defend Earth," Wilson told his crew. "We're going to explore, we're going to learn, and we're going to show the galaxy what humanity can really do." Xthor, now a prisoner, finally asked the question that had bothered him since his defeat. "How?" he asked Dr. Hayes during an interview. How did you discover quantum manipulation that our best scientists said was impossible? Emily smiled. Because no one told us it was impossible. We saw the universe not as it was supposed to be, but as it could be. The quantum core technology, as it came to be known, spread quickly through human space. Ships, stations, and even cities began using quantum fields for power and defense. Earth entered a golden age of exploration and discovery. This is just the beginning, Lisa Cooper said as she watched the first civilian quantum ships take flight. We've barely scratched the surface of what's possible. In the years that followed, humanity's influence grew throughout the galaxy. The species that others had dismissed as primitive became leaders in quantum physics and space-time manipulation. Other races came to Earth to learn, to trade, and to understand how humans had accomplished the impossible. And in deep space, the US Prometheus continued to explore, its quantum core glowing bright blue against the darkness. Captain Wilson stood on his bridge, looking at the stars that now held so much promise. "We changed the rules of physics," he said to his crew. "Now let's see what else we can change." The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate humans. Because when humans look at the impossible, they don't see a wall. They see a challenge to overcome. And in the quantum dance of space and time, humanity have found its greatest strength, the power to rewrite the rules themselves.